Welcome everybody, friends, subscribers to the channel. Once again, we have here Gregory Mannarino, one of our favorites to have on the channel. He's gracing us with his presence. How are you doing, Gregory? How was your summer?
I'm doing good. Things are good. Really, honestly, can't complain for myself, but it's unfortunate what we're seeing, how this is unfolding, people suffering here more so. And the worst is yet to come. I'm waiting for people to freaking revolt because that's really what we need. We need a revolution in this country.
Yeah. We're seeing around the world a lot of turmoil. People are turning against their governments, especially in Europe. We're seeing almost inklings of civil war, and we're definitely we're definitely seeing a change in people's sentiment and perception about what's going on, and the establishment seems to be holding on to dear life, really, and the lies and the deception gets even more distorted and more wilder to cover the gaps. But let's start a little bit about the economy. Recently, we had Jerome Powell with the FOMC cutting rates, and some of the comments that I know he has a speech today, sort of like setting the tone of what took place. We also have PC data that is coming out this week, and that might shift a little bit the markets. But overall, we're seeing M2 supply going up. The printing machine has started. We're seeing commercial lending is taking foot. What's your take? What's your overall take of the economy and also the markets?
Well, the bottom line is we could turn this all around. People are being financially repressed. The mechanism here around the world of rates being artificially suppressed, currency devaluation, debt expansion. I mean, it's a common theme wherever you want to look. This is destroying the middle class here, fostering the greatest wealth transfer the world has ever seen, right up to the elite. The 1% and 2% are raping this world, and people have frankly had enough. And there's going to be a tipping point here in America. It's a little different than the rest of the world. I talk to people everywhere. People here, they're very passive. They take whatever is given to them, no matter how bad it is, and then ask for more. There is a very select few people who are willing to do anything, take action. It's an incredible thing in America, what has happened. But around the world, it's a different story. I think people are more willing to act. They're stronger. They have a backbone. Here, they become worms. They become worthless eaters for the most part. And as long as they're being taken care of by the government, which is, again, taken care of by the government means currency devaluation, artificially suppressed rates, and invested expansion, which, of course, do one thing, that is foster the greatest wealth transfer that has ever been witnessed in the history of the world. I guess they're kind of comfortable here. But the bottom line is this: how anyone could believe that, again, the mechanism of artificially suppressed rates, currency devaluation, and vast debt expansion anywhere in the world, especially in the United States, is going to somehow make America great again. You've got to be out of your freaking mind. We have devils running this nation here and pretty much around the world. It's the elite, the 1% and 2% are out for themselves. They realize that this is the best opportunity for them, given to them, I guess, by the people who unfortunately allowed this to happen in many ways without pushing back, without saying enough is enough. We've reached the tipping point. And now that they have it, the elite, the 1% and 2%, they're going to continue to rape the system faster. That means more debt, more currency devaluation, vastly suppressed rates. So we have our president here calling for hundreds of basis point drop in the federal funds rate. The Fed just did 25 basis points, just the beginning. But QE's never stopped. I mean, here in the United States especially, you've got this mechanism of repropping up the stock markets on the back of, again, the same three mechanisms. It's just not going to stop. This is the greatest opportunity for the elite here who have now positioned themselves with the central bank to allow the central banks to fulfill their goal and at the same time become wealthy off of it.
Yeah. We're seeing great disparity. The markets do not reflect the truth of the economy. Some of the indicators that I see here in Canada is you have big chains closing down, like Whole Foods. You have major companies closing down certain locations, and you're wondering, wow, if that can happen right now, what would be the bottom? Because that is, especially when you have a lot of stores that people rely on for food and for their everyday necessities closing down, that shows you that something is not going well. And in the meantime, you look at the market cap of AI, all the major AI companies. I looked at the market cap recently, is like close to $10 trillion. Like, imagine just half of that money, what it could actually do for people, invest in healthcare, education, infrastructure, and all that is going for AI, which again, like we've discussed, is fueling the technocracy, right? The techno feudalism of AI permeating in our lives more and more and replacing jobs, but also sort of distorting narratives and perception about human relationships as well. I'm seeing more and more people rely on AI, which again is, like you said, just becoming more of a consumer and being mindless about it. What's your take on AI in terms of it becoming more of a part of society now, and especially these huge investments that we're seeing? I know also Intel became sort of nationalized, supported by now the Trump government. What's your take on AI overall?
AI overall, I think it's I don't like it. Oh, in aggregate, I think people unfortunately are going to become more dependent on it, and that means they're going to be losing their jobs to this. The AI is going to become the boss. We're not going to be the boss. It's going to be the boss. It's going to make decisions on who works and who doesn't work. Um, it's an incredible thing to witness, to see this manifest itself in this matter so rapidly. Uh, but again, it's just inevitable where this is going to go. It's part of the erasure of humanism, of society as we know it as a whole. You can only imagine where this is going to be in just 5 years from now. Now, with regard to going back to the market and AI and tech and everything else here, and as we've seen the markets going higher and higher and higher and higher as the economy gets pushed through the crust of the earth, this mechanism is not going to stop. The more they can inflate the debt, suppress rates, and kill the currency, the greater multiples the stock market's going to trade on. So we could see Dow, who knows what, in the future, on the back end. The illusion of the market is such a powerful thing. So many people believe that if the market's doing well, the economy is doing well. Most people don't care anyway. They look at their 401ks, their investments, say, hey, look, I'm doing okay. They don't give a damn about anybody else. They don't look at the mechanism that's driving it. They don't realize it. I mean, think about this. We have the federal funds rate, the dropping that down. You can't have this relationship of having the federal funds rate or bond yields dropping and not even close to keeping up with even their own numbers with regard to inflation. I mean, this is theft. And again, the market's going to trade on higher multiples. It doesn't mean that anything is fixed. It's just going to destroy people faster from the inside. And we are being destroyed from within, I think, everywhere in the world, and people are frankly fed up. But here, again, it's just living here and listening to people. First of all, people have no idea what's happening. They don't realize what you just said. For example, Intel merging into this into government. There are throngs of companies lining up for government backstops, government support. So this means these very corporations, they're not going to be allowed to fail. They're going to be supported by the system, and we're not benefiting from it. The public doesn't get a damn thing out of it. But these corporations, oh, sure, they're going to be reaping massive profit. And what does that mean too? Where's cash going to flow into? Well, I mean, duh, it's a no-brainer. These corporations that are going to be absorbed into the government, that's where cash is going to go. And what that's going to do is concentrate more power in fewer and fewer corporations and companies here. And that just leads to more market fragility. Eventually, look, man, all this thing, we all know, It's not sustainable. The debt situation here is going. It's already rearing its ugly head with inflation, the rising cost of living for everyone,
Yeah.
and the destruction of the economy moving forward. Well, this is going to be a breaking point, and we don't have to guess when that is. It's going to be a point of their choosing, quite obviously. We could just watch the debt market, look at the currency markets, which are one and the same, and that will give us all a clue as to what we need to be doing. The bottom line is, I mean, people that follow our work, I'm sure they're already very clear that you need to bet against the system, become your own central bank, hoard hard assets here, take advantage of the market while you can. I also feel like crypto is a space people need to be in.
Yeah.
We can't let a single thing get past us here because we're being destroyed. So our enemy wants us destroyed. So we have to counter strategize against it. And I think that's what we're trying to do. And then we got to raise our awareness. People need to pay attention to what's going on, not be distracted by the bread and circuses, by the garbage that they fist feed us every day. Here, look here, don't look over there. Anyway, that's just the way it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially when we look at, I think it was a telltale sign of Trump's inauguration when we saw all the tech company CEOs and giants just being lined up for him. I think that was a telltale sign of what his emphasis would be in this whole techno feudalism and corporatism that will just explode under Trump. And that sign, I think, was just very blatant in order to understand of what's going to come, because a lot of people were duped into thinking that he's for the people only because he speaks like the simple average Joe in the streets. Yeah, the interest rates, despite those going down, we've seen that the markets overall, the interest rates have been going up despite the cuts, and that's a sign, right? I know you've been a proponent of gold and silver and Bitcoin as well to have some exposure. But looking at the price of gold, wow, and do you think this is just the beginning with gold? Do you see higher numbers like 5,000-6,000 for the ounce of gold?
It's interesting that you bring that up because just this morning I was flipping through like Bloomberg and Fox Business and all those. I always do it. I want to hear what's coming out of their mouths. And one of those channels, I forget which one it was, they had a guy out there talking about the price of gold. How gold is it's really overvalued. And I go, overvalued based on what? Based on virtually ever expanding global debt? You got to be kidding me. Again, these are paid shills. They go out there and people go, hold on a minute. Gold just hit a record high. Maybe no. I don't want to buy gold here. This guy must be an authority. That's why he's on this mainstream. So he knows what he's talking about. They want you to stay in fiat, man. They don't want anyone in gold. They don't want anyone in a hard asset across the board. They want the narrative to be maintained. And look, we haven't seen anything yet. And I mean anything. At a minimum, my target for gold is 8,000 based on, and again, I'm just pull this out of a hat. We have to look. I have been telling people for a decade that we're going to get a par gold Dow, meaning I believe, first of all, you have to look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is 30 companies that the mainstream media wants you to focus on. Not even the S&P 500. The 30 companies. Look at that Dow. Look at the Dow. It's like hypnosis. But anyway. So the markets are so disconnected from reality based on ever expanding debt and multiples expansion. Of course, you got investors putting that 90% of the stock markets of the world are owned by the 1% and 2%ers, the elite, and they're the ones benefiting from it. And then, of course, when the bubble bursts, and it's going to burst at the time of their choosing, they'll be out first while everyone else gets left holding the bag. But the bottom line is the markets so detached from reality. Dow, whatever, record high yesterday. It don't matter. We're going to bottom out somewhere around 8,000. This market is going to crash so hard and so fast. Again, at a time of their choosing, looking at the debt market, which is where everything gets its value from, meaning the stock market itself in aggregates of the world become a derivative because they derive value from a debt market action here. We're going to see a collapse of the markets that people aren't going to believe. So Dow 8,000 means gold 8,000 at a minimum. And with silver, I think a potential 10 to 1 or 800 an ounce is possible. 15, 10 to 1. Because look, man, it's always the same story. People run for the door all at the same time, and then cash just seeks places to go. It doesn't go to money heaven like people think it does. Oh, I just lost XYZ and this. No, it doesn't just disappear. It just moves from one set of assets into another. So, but by understanding the movement of cash to the markets, how it works, it allows us to position ourselves. But it's even bigger than that. It's not about where the markets are going to go or even where the debt market goes. It's going to come down to the flow of credit through the system. We are going to face a credit freeze, a locking up of the system, which was the real core of what was going on during the financial crisis. Fortunately, we're obviously in a massive crisis right now. And how do we know that? Because it's the same pattern: flood the system with more debt, devalue the currency, and keep rates artificially suppressed. It's the same pattern over and over and over and over and over and over again. So understanding these things gives the people that follow our work an enormous power. Realizing that, hey, you know what, this is what we need to do. This is how I stay ahead of the curve. And that's really what it's all about for me, man. Just making sure people that rely on our work here are aware of what's happening, why, and then take action. I'm not sitting here, and neither are you, just to sit here and flap our lips and blab. I want people to hear this stuff, make up their own minds, and then do something about it, not just sit back to be entertained, because I'm not an entertainer. I may be a little zany at times, but I'm here to awaken people, and I hope they're starting to pay attention as you are.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. So, I just want to touch on something that you mentioned about the devaluation of the currency and the credit freeze, because just to give some context for people, all of this is artificial. All of this could have been prevented long time ago, can be prevented. Excuse me. It's definitely artificial. It's created, it's engineered in order to take us to somewhere else, right? That's what a crisis is. It's engineered to provoke certain types of reactions and then offer the same solution. The same engineers who offer the crisis then come up with the solution. So I wanted to ask you, do you think this is part and parcel of the on-ramp to full digitalization in order to have full surveillance, full-on control? Because I can't imagine a world where they would actually allow gold and silver-backed currencies. So do you think that this is the end game in order to achieve full digitalization? That's why they're crashing the currency?
100%. 100%. We just, what did President Trump do in July? Signed the Genius Act here, stable coin tokens that are going to be issued by these same companies that are merging with the government right now. And again, we were foretold, President Trump called himself a stable genius. Then we get the Stable Coin Genius Act. That's how they operate, these devils, because that's what they are. They're not even human beings. And we're going to end up, again, the next step is the stablecoin token system, which will eventually lead to full tokenization of the system, which I've been warned about for 10 years. It's too easy to see the writing on the wall, where it's going to go. They got to dismantle the current system. They need people to beg. Again, problem, reaction, solution, just like you said. And that's where we're going here. They must take down the system slowly, incrementally, because if it was rapid, then of course people would take to the streets and say, hold on a minute, this can't be. If they do it slowly, methodically, and deliberately, it allows them to do whatever they want. And then they got the media here with every manner of deception and distraction, telling people to look over there and not over here. So it's an incredible thing. People who are awake, like we are, people who follow our work, they're looking at this and they're going, this is incredible. And it is. But that's where we're going 100%. The full tokenization across the board, a cashless system. And there's no way. I know there's a lot of people hoping that we're going to go back to a gold standard. There's no way. Or a gold back system, because again, that would give power to the people. What they're doing here is stripping the people of their freedoms and their liberties and everything else here, and being pushed, herded like sheep in one direction. But I'm hoping that's not the people that follow our work here. And I know that isn't. They have a clear understanding. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. These people have an understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, and I think also the normalization and acceptance of Bitcoin and crypto by governments. And now you're seeing central banks around the world switching the initial criticism that they had into accepting Bitcoin's position in a potential digital economy. What are your thoughts there? I mean, I've been in Bitcoin only because I see the opportunity there. But do I think that is this thing that people are trying to evangelize? Absolutely not. I definitely think that it is part and parcel of this on-ramp of full digitalization. Some have been saying that it can be used as a, as a commodity that can back certain things. It can be used as collateral in order to support some of the parts of the economy. What are your thoughts a little bit about Bitcoin? I know we've talked about this in the past, but like for people who are now getting into it, because I'm seeing a lot of older generations becoming less agnostic about it.
I look at Bitcoin in the crypto space as a way to weaponize the system. I don't see it. I mean, it could be called anything. You could call it blah blah blah. If there's something where cash is flowing into in this kind of an environment where again, the currencies are being dissolved. I mean, I'm on public record telling people that at Bitcoin 17.5 that it was a buy, 17,500. And I was laughed at and ridiculed, of course. And now look where it is here, $100,000 more. And then I don't think it's the bottom. I think this is the beginning. I think this is going much higher again, because just even regardless of what it is or isn't, it doesn't even matter. I don't care what it is. If people were throwing their cash at shoelaces right now, that's where I'd put some of my cash to work too. Doesn't matter. We're just looking for avenues, to stay ahead of the curve. So that's it. I mean, it's that freaking simple, realizing that they're destroying us. So if we know that, we can't let anything squeeze past us. We have to keep our people aware of what we feel and then make up their own. Look, man, not telling people. I don't want people to say, well, Greg is giving advice on this, that, and the other thing. I'm telling people how I feel about something, and then I want them to do their own research and make up their own mind. Do they want to stay in central bank issue news like that freaking guy this morning or whatever channel that was? Oh, gold, no. It's hit a record high, but I wouldn't be buying here. I mean, literally, that's what he said. I wouldn't be buying gold here. I would be buying right now. And you got to be kidding me. Because I mean, it's overvalued. I can't believe they say these things, and then they don't get the commentator doesn't say, well, it's overvalued based on what, sir? Right. I mean, you're gonna be kidding. But again, it's all scripted. You and me, what are we doing? We're just sitting here talking. There's no script, and we're just going along. But this is what they do. It's the mind screw of the public, and people believe it. I have friends of mine still to this day who have been telling to buy gold and silver since silver was $8. When gold was $700. Oh no, I'm not going to buy that stuff. And now they look back and they say, wow, should I buy it now? I think it's really high in price. Really? No, you haven't seen anything yet. That's my view. Gold at least double from where we are now. The real value with this is silver. Silver is, again, I believe, the most undervalued asset on the planet, other than oxygen and water and our alignment with God. I think this is what we're really at here. And I think the people that follow work are clear on it. They know what to do, and they've been betting against the system because the system is being destroyed from within. So if we know that, take action.
Yeah. You've talked about the parity of gold with the Dow, and also how silver is one of the most underappreciated. And what do you make of the COMEX? They're talking that there's going to be such a squeeze and it's going to be impossible to buy, etc. And I'm hearing a lot of people talk about how gold and silver is being pushed around from east to the west or west to the east. There's also the perception that because Europe is in such turmoil with the war that right now is ramping up even more. We're hearing a lot of neighboring countries that are getting involved in the West, and NATO is moving more and more troops. Do you think that we might see what took place in World War II, where a lot of the capital from Europe will come to the US, either in treasuries or gold or etc.? What do you think about those talks?
All right, well, let's start off at the end there. with the United States here, natural buyers or foreign nations, they're all gone of U.S. debt. We now have a scheme going on, which I can't even believe this is the United States of America, where both the Fed and the Treasury are issuing debt through one door, buying it back through another. But the Treasury is more dastardly because they're issuing debt so we can fund ourselves, and then the Fed's monetizing it. Again, this is a mechanism because there are no buyers left. And this has been the end game or the goal of the Fed and every central bank, is to own it all, to be the lender and buyer of last resort, to have absolute power and control over everything. Now, with regard to the COMEX, which I call the crimeax here, they don't deal in real metals. They're dealing in paper derivatives. There's no metals changing hands here. And they can continue to rig this game as far and as long as one big player doesn't settle in cash, instead demands the gold, or silver or whatever else. And at that point, the whole thing will unravel. But this is a massive opportunity. Good, let them play their games, because we're going to play ours, because we can do the same thing. If we realize they're rigging the game, and it's rigged to the highest possible order, if they're artificially suppressing prices, and we know the rich are loading up on this stuff here because they realize that the system is being taken apart, where are you going to be? They realize how cash moves through the markets. It's this most simple, most basic concept that no one wants to talk about, how cash moves through the markets based on the debt system itself, which includes the currency. It's too easy. They make it too easy for us. All you need is literally one functioning brain cell, like I've been telling people for 1,000 years, to understand why things are the way they are and what's happening. So good. I say let the crimeax do what they've been doing. Let them continue to keep the price suppressed for as long as they want to, because this presents opportunity for people. And right now, I still say this is the greatest opportunity for people to own these. Look, I don't sell this stuff. I've had silver companies, gold producers, oh, Greg, let's produce a coin with your image on it. And I say no, I don't want that, because people would say Greg has a vested interest. I don't want that. I want people to, Greg doesn't sell gold or silver or anything else. I'm telling people, I want people to realize the truth, because the moment I were to do that, oh, look, Greg has his picture on a gold coin or a silver coin, and he's making a kickback from company XYZ. I haven't done it. I've never done it. I never will do it. So I want people to realize that I say these things because I believe they're true. And if people just think about the stuff we're talking about here, just for a minute, they'll say, wow, everything they're saying sounds about right to me, because people know the truth when they hear it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've been seeing this huge chasm between the East and the West. And what is scary is that we've become so dependent on this paper derivative market, all of this, which is such an illusion and doesn't represent real production, real GDP, real quality of life, which you'd think that, comparison to the 2008 crisis, or even before that, you'd expect that we'd be on a trajectory where the quality of life increases. And I'm seeing a lot of people who may be buying things, but it's all based on credit, and they're all making payments for the future. So yeah, that debt enslavement is real. It's real, and it's real unfortunate. What else is something that you think we might have missed on? Because you talked about it brilliantly, how people need to position themselves, take advantage of the market, how it still has room to run, especially with QE ramping up now. Is there anything else you want to bring to the attention of our audience? Something around, perhaps to protect themselves in terms of that indicator? Because I wanted to ask you, what would be that main indicator that would flash for you and give you that signal of, okay, I'm out of the market. This is a credit freeze that I'm expecting.
Absolutely. The easiest tell is the 10-year yield, the benchmark. I look at the whole yield curve, but I don't give it the attention that I think the mainstream media wants people to focus on. All you got to look at is the benchmark, which is the 10-year yield. It's too simple. Right now, we're seeing a bump up in, as you mentioned when we first got here, in the 10-year yield here. It's not going to last. There's no way it's going to last here. We're going to see a sub 4% 10-year yield pretty soon. There's going to be an uncontrolled sell-off in this debt market at the time of their choosing. Meaning, we're going to see, and I don't get alarmed by move like this at all. What will alarm me, which will raise my eyebrows, is when we see 25, 30, 40, 50 basis points higher in a day with regard to the 10-year yield. Why? Because everyone's going to run to the door at the same time. It's always the same. The mechanism behind this, again, this sell-off here in the debt market, yield spiking, is going to just destroy or make real, should I say, the value of markets, stock markets, currency markets around the world, and everything's going to revalue at the same time. That's where we're going to see the movement of cash flow into commodities. I also say into cryptocurrencies as well, which is just a conduit for us here, to at least stay on the right side of this entire thing. It couldn't be easier to once you realize, again, how cash flows through the markets in predictable patterns based on the debt market, and the collective destruction of currency devaluation around the world is a big tell that we have massive problems here. And now they've resorted to artificially suppressed rates, which is quantitative easing here, printing cash at thin air. It's an unbelievable thing. And central bankers and politicians here who have become one, especially here in the United States, here working together to foster the wealth transfer right up to the elite here, rob the economy blind, U.S. industry, small business. It's the same phenomenon pretty much around the world here. People are going to wake up when it hits them. And until that point, I think people are going to be disconnected from reality. And I think, it's interesting to see how different classes of people kind of react to things. I believe if you lived in an area where, let's say, was a true middle class area, people would maybe be saying different things. Now, where I live is an upper class area, and I see people here, they're disconnected from reality. These aren't even the elite or the super elite. These are just people that have a few dollars laying around. And they feel comfortable. And that's a problem. And they see, again, their investments I'm making money, and this is happening, and that's happening. Some people are complaining that their home values are dropping. But now with regard rates coming down, you'll see a repop with regard to home values, of course. But again, I don't like it. I don't like how I see how the different, and of course the people in the upper echelon, they're the ones reaping the benefits from it. But if you look at a basic middle class existence, and then you look at people, let's say, in the next tier higher, in the socioeconomic food chain, if you want to call it that way, they have a different perspective on things, and they're disconnected from reality. So you can only imagine moving up to the next chain, the next link higher and higher, how they are. Just seeing this disparity between middle class and, say, maybe upper middle class, it bothers me. I don't like to see it, and it keeps people disconnected from reality. But the reality is going to become real for everyone at one point, and that's basically the bottom line. For everyone's going to feel it, except the 1% and 2%, because even the people in the upper, middle class, they're feeling the pinch now, and they're going to get the pinch further. And this is going to be exacerbated going back to the AI. AI is going to take everyone's jobs. Everyone's jobs is going away. And that's going to create, again, a slave society, and people more dependent on the system. And that's what they're trying to do. Dependency on the system. So again, problem, reaction, solution, people just fall right in line. It's an incredible thing.
Yeah. We're definitely seeing that bifurcation of those.
Oh, dude, it's unbelievable.
Are either in extreme comfort, where we all know that comfort breeds, it stifles growth and makes people complacent. And then you have the other side of those who are expecting the unexpected, who are out there and trying to read the signs. And of course, the ratio is always just topsy-turvy with those who are complacent versus those who are always on the lookout, because it may not rain every day, but when it does, you definitely want your umbrella, right? You definitely want to have
absolutely. We got to shield ourselves. We got to come together. We got to unify. Absolutely. And that's another thing I've found since I moved from YouTube over to Substack. Very few people, way less than I actually thought, are even interested in actually learning what's happening and then taking action. They want to be more entertained than anything else. And this isn't entertainment. As we said before, this is serious business. We're watching the destruction of global structure only to issue in a brand new system. And I believe that this mechanism is going to accelerate moving forward. I say in the next 6 months is here in the United States, especially zombies. People are going to become completely zombified. They're not going to know what hit them as the economy continues to be systematically and deliberately wiped out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I really enjoyed what you had to say, especially giving us an indicator of the 10-year and looking at that as an indicator of when it will jump 25, 50 basis points a day, which seems unimaginable, but we have seen some crazy moves and it has been acting sometimes like a meme stock. I mean, the flexivity that it has, the movement that we've seen in bonds is definitely showing us that the end might be near, and we might see a credit freeze with no buyers, like you said, right? And that's crazy. So interesting. Well, we touched on a lot of things. I appreciate your time, everybody. Could you share with us where people can find you? I know you mentioned Substack, so you're there as Gregory Mannarino.
Yeah, I still post on YouTube as well. I mean, look, I'm a pretty easy guy to find, man, but people should stick with you. All right. People can find me, let them find you. And I hope that more people do listen to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I have a video coming up soon about AI and surveillance and technocracy. Lots of interesting things from the creators, essentially, those who were deemed as the godfathers of AI and what they talk about. Some
I know. Send that video to me. I want to hear. I want to
Def-
watch it myself, and I'll share it.
Definitely, because it's an eye opener. But so everybody, you guys know where to find Gregory Mannarino. Subscribe, like, comment below. I'd like to hear some of your feedback. And Gregory, I can't wait to see you soon, man.
You
Appreciate
too,
you.
brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.